Hello everyone, thank you for coming from MOJO again, and I'm gonna start on time. You know basically what we do. We work with organizations, we have programs, we have workshops, we have keynote talks, and the most recent one is the Delight Challenge. You know, one of the frustration is when people get inspired and do nothing with that, I get frustrated. So what we want to do, I said, inspiration without perspiration equal evaporation. So what we do when people take a keynote or a workshop, we suggest to have the Delight Challenge. And we don't charge so much for it, so it's so easy to take it. We create a group, we inspire each other. What did you learn? What did you take away? How did you apply it? And then people inspire each other. We meet after 1 month, and that's how we get things implemented. And today we have an amazing speaker, Sehr, Ahmed. Unbelievable. Trust me, you gonna love her. She is amazing. She inspired me, and this is why she's here. And you could see how interesting her life is. What she will tell you in the future, not so long from now, how she became this chief HR of McDonald's in Asia Pacific, in Africa and the Middle East. Amazing. And she had to work for 3 months there. And you know, if talking about favorite picture among that, I don't know about you, but the one with the traditional costume looks to me like from National Geographic. It looks so beautiful, look amazing. So you can see she speaks, she's a great mother of 2. And here is where she's definitely bold and brilliant. Look, I wouldn't go over there. I'm gonna be afraid. It's amazing. Later on, maybe she's gonna tell you where she was, and here are her 2 kids. So let's start. Sehr, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone. Great to be here at MOJO and wonderful to see all of you. Good afternoon, Asia, and good morning, Europe, and everything in the middle. Today, I'm going to share an arc out of my life story on 3 pivotal decisions I made that changed the course of my life. It's a story on how to be bold, brave, and brilliant at critical moments in your life. And it could be your story because I'm going to share some tools and tips on how you can make it happen for you. And I remember at that moment feeling this small, and I had literally no self-esteem. I felt like I was nobody, going nowhere, because I had given up everything in my life to hold on to a marriage that was hanging by a thread. It was pretty much over. I'd given up my country, my family, my friends. And as I continued to push that stroller, I felt the weight of the world on my shoulders. And then out of nowhere, something snapped in my head. And I said, that's it, I'm done. Having made that decision, I went back to Edmonton, where I lived at the time, and packed up my life and decided I'm moving to Vancouver. I'm just going to get a job, not having worked for 3 years, in the middle of a deep recession with 2 little kids in tow. So I looked up a friend of mine from my MBA. He gave me a project to do on an asset securitization firm. Long story short, the CEO of that company was impressed and said, Sehr, I know you're looking for a job, and here are 10 people you can call with my personal reference, and just pulled out 10 cards from his Rolodex. And this is basically moments when doors open in your life. One of the people that he connected me to was the COO of the Jim Pattison Group, one of the largest conglomerates in Canada. And as I met this gentleman, Kirk Henderson, and I was sitting across from him in his beautiful office overlooking Cole Harbour, he said to me, have you applied to HSBC? And I said, no. He said, well, my childhood friend has just become an EVP, and I'm going to put you in touch. He set up the meeting. I walked in, got the job as an account manager in the commercial banking division in the middle of a deep recession, not having worked for 3 years. And I had the audacity to negotiate the offer up when they made it to me because I valued myself. And that was the shift I made from the person pushing the stroller to the person who valued herself. Second decision, the story goes on. And you know, this is a time when I've now basically been, having made that decision, doing the single parenting thing and working long and hard. And it was tough. Let's face it, these are tough decisions and they lead to tough consequences. So the kids were pretty young. I had no backup and I was just pretty much living from paycheck to paycheck. By the time I paid for my fixed costs, there wasn't very much left. And I got a call from my parents and they said, Sehr, come home, come back. You need help. We want to help you. This is a tough time for you. I resisted the idea initially because I said, I can do this. I made this decision. I can manage. But there was a moment when I considered it and I realized that I was pretty much racing through the day and I would take myself to a point of exhaustion and pass out when my head would hit the pillow at the end of a long day. And when I took a look at myself in the mirror, I realized, I thought, I can't even remember if I ate a meal today or if I even remember to eat yesterday. And I saw a glimpse of myself and I was pretty much, I had to admit, bored. I was pretty much anorexic. And that's when I said, I need help. And I made the decision to go home. That decision was critical on a number of counts because my kids got to know their grandparents and understand their cultural roots. And I got the support when I needed it. The next decision is really about times in your life when the stars line up and the opportunities present themselves. Having made the decision to move back to Pakistan, I got a job as a manager, account manager in the structured finance division. And out of nowhere, the ABN AMRO lost their head of HR. The CEO tapped me on the shoulder and said, Sehr, would you consider a move into HR? You understand the business, you're strategic and you're good with people. There were three things that were important to me at that time. I wanted to get back out. I wanted an international career. So I said, will this get me back out of Pakistan? Will this give me a niche skill set and a way to rise and grow in a company with a differentiated skill set? And will this allow me to have leadership impact in this company? And they said, all that and more. I rolled up my sleeves, dived right in, and the business loved me because I spoke their language and I understood their problems. 18 months out of making that move, I was pulled out of Pakistan by a CEO that was looking for the head of HR for Greater China, and he was looking for someone with a business HR skill set. So it was like my name was written on that job description. And this offer came to me when SARS had broken out in Asia. So it was May of 2003. Everybody was leaving Hong Kong and Asia. And I said to myself, I'm not going to get a job like this. I'm not going to get an opportunity like this again. This is unique. So I left the kids with my parents for a month and I said, I'll be back. And I moved to Hong Kong with my surgical masks and rubber gloves. Deja vu from where we are today. And that was the start of the most amazing part of my career. It brought me to this amazing city and gave me an incredible opportunity to make impact in a great HR leadership role that worked hand in glove with the business as a thought partner to the CEO. Moving forward, my HR career has taken me across 5 industries: banking, insurance, consumer goods with McDonald's, buy side, and professional services. And actually one of the most fascinating moves I did make, and it was probably the riskiest one, was the move to McDonald's. This again came up. I got a call from a headhunter. They were looking for a successor to the chief people officer for the Asia Pacific, Middle East and Africa region in Singapore. And I got the job. And everybody who joins McDonald's goes into the restaurants for 2 weeks. It's part of their induction. I went in for 3 months and they were kind of testing me. I mean, my heart was pounding when they told me 3 months, but I said, let's do this. I put on my sneakers, put on the manager's uniform, and I stood on my feet for 9 hours at a stretch. I did every day part. I did every crew station. I shook the world famous fries and I flipped those burgers and I built that Big Mac. And it was fascinating. And it was one of the best lessons that I learned in how to be an empathetic leader, because you walk in the shoes of the people you serve. And that's what McDonald's taught me. So moving on, here's the update, the personal update. That's the stroller. That was pretty much how old the kids were at the time, my son Hamza and Zara. They're all grown up now. Both my kids live in New York City. Hamza went to Amherst College, studied political science and economics, works at Boston Consulting Group, and is on his way to INSEAD to do his MBA this year. And my daughter Zahra went to Middlebury College and studied Mandarin and political science, minored in studio art, and is working at Axiom in an account executive role. And basically, I'm really proud of the kids, and we stay very close. But you got it right when you get a card from your kids that says, "Happy Father's Day, Mom." That's what I got on Sunday. That's my story. Back to you, Avi.
Wow. Short and long at the same time. Very impactful. Amazing story. Don't you think so? If you think so, just show your hands. Show your hands. Give some love. All right. Great. Thank you, Sehr. So what happens usually after you have an inspiring, amazing guest that share with you a story? What we do is we have a question, and let Sehr tell you about the question that she's asking you.
Yeah, so this question is really for you to go into your little groups and talk about a pivotal decision you have made in your life in the past. Think about what that decision was. What were some of the triggers that led to it? What did you learn about yourself, and where did it take you?
So now what we do, which is giving you the voice. And what I would ask you to do now is to write down your name in a chat if you're willing to share with maximum 90 seconds, no more, so other people will have an opportunity, the story of your partner. If you're willing to do that, just type your name and I'm gonna call you. So you'll be able to do that. Mark. All right, Mark. Beautiful, Mark. And by the way, just one thing. Mark, is it true that you had a birthday this week?
Yes.
Anybody else had a birthday this week? No? So would you help me now sing happy birthday to Mark?
Happy
Can
birthday
you switch?
to
Can you switch?
you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mark.
Happy birthday to you.
Wonderful, Mark. Go ahead, Mark.
I was talking with Marina, and she was talking about that life-changing experience when you get to the point of doing your daily job and working with someone in the comfort of knowing that there's an income stream and all that, and taking the leap and giving it a go yourself. But then struggling to sort of identify exactly how, what and why, but you knew you needed to do it, but you're just going to give it a go anyway.
So taking a leap of faith.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Mark. Anyone else? I see that Sandra wants to share. Can we give Sandra? Hey, Sandra, why don't you share?
Yeah, so during my session with Unchai and Annie, I think this is what we're sharing, right? Like what we shared in the, okay, just checking. Yeah, so I think I love our sharing because it was really real. We realized that, three of us have been through difficult times previously, and how, it was a pivotal change, how we had to do what needed to be done, and it made a difference, and we realized that we can, and we always will. Not just us, but we realized that's, across the board, everybody on this call, everybody's been through something or other. And, we made it out, so we should be really proud of ourselves.
Yeah, I guess that this is a great advice, Sandra, because everyone that wakes up in the morning can be proud. We reached here. We are here. So we did something great. Thank you very much for the sharing, Sandra. Leon wanted to say something. Leon, are you here?
Yeah, I
Leon,
think, yeah, thanks, Sally. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, sure.
I think what we have in common, and everybody, is this balance of life experiences and career, and balancing the human and experiential side with the need to make a living. I think everybody has to balance these, and if you don't balance them, you're in trouble. One, you either don't make a living, or B, you become an inert person, and that's not going to do you any good anyway. And I just wanted to relate this to, I was just reading a company that I'm looking into has agricultural enterprises in Africa, in Kenya and Uganda, and they treated their employees extremely badly. I won't go into details, but they're pretty horrific. And this was a listed company. And so if they'd have spent money actually trying to engender human relations in their company, they would be in a much better state. But as it was, there was a class action suit by the employees of their African subsidiary, and it cost the major company tens of millions of pounds to settle this. And they lost their reputation, they lost their markets and their supermarket deals. And I think it just shows how important it is to have this balance, and to portray it correctly in your life and in the workplace. So that's what sort of sprung to my mind.
Thank you, Leon, for sharing that. Appreciate that. Where are you now? You're in South Africa?
I did work in South Africa, but I'm actually in the UK.
In UK. All right. So maybe thank you very much. And Lenny wanted to share. So Lenny, the last person to share today.
Thank you for the opportunity. I had a great talk with Jacqueline Basile, and we sort of identified the spot that was the most, let's say the sharing that we had was that if we had a chance to choose between a life of just work or a life of adventure, and her story was about, okay, I could take this job, which is, 9 to 5 and everything is pretty stable, but she took the leap of faith to go into something that was a startup, had no idea where it was going to go. It could have gone, into the pits, but it took off. And I really enjoyed listening to her, because all her decisions were based on taking the roller coaster rather than the little cars in the park, to make life an adventure. And I very much identified with it, and it was a lovely talk. So that was the message I got from her. Choose the adventure.
Choose the adventure. Wonderful. Fantastic. So just be bold and brilliant. Great. Thank you, Lenny. Thank you very much.
I think that was Ahmed's message in the first place. So
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lenny. All right, so the next thing that happened, I'm gonna hand over again to Sehr, and she will share with you a few tools that she developed along the way that might be useful for you. And please pay attention, because afterwards we're gonna break out into room.
That's it. Okay. So, this is the moment where I want to connect some of the dots for all of you on the decisions I made and some of the lessons learned from that. First decision I made was having the courage to step out of a failed marriage. For me, the lesson is when you're down and out, you are one decision away from transforming your life, and you don't need to know how it turns out. You just need to take that first step. The rest will follow. The second decision I made was to go home and get help when I needed it. the lesson really here for me is no matter how strong and brave and tough we are, we all need a little bit of a helping hand at some point in our lives. So if you need help, reach out. If someone's offering you help, be open to it. And there's strength in that. The third decision was to make a career transition. And the lesson for me really was when an opportunity presents itself, trust yourself that you will know what it takes to succeed and you'll figure it out. So I guess on this note, I just want to, talk about, what is, your personal brand. It isn't your resume, and it certainly isn't the degree you hold. It's the way the world perceives you because of the decisions you took and the actions that it led to. So my message to all of you is to be tough, be brave and bold and brilliant. And when faced with a choice, take the one that scares you most. Because you will learn, you will grow, and you will land on your feet, no matter what. And there will be times in your life when you'll be dealt a bad hand, or the world will be stacked against you. And it's at those pivotal moments that you come face to face with who you are. Are you the person that gives up, checks out, says I'm done? Or are you the one that pushes through with pure grit and determination and reaches that finish line? So that's the message. And now I want to move on to just sharing my 5-step process that I've put together. And it really is about, starting with yourself and where you are right now in your life and asking yourself, what matters? What's really important to me at this point in my life? 3 things, top 3. So think about what that is. Then you move to the situation. What's happening right now in my life? What's going on? What are the big forces? Try and drill that down to 3 things as well. The next step is to look forward and visualize your best life. Try and do that and say, where do I really want to be? What does that look like? What does that feel like? And create that vision of that beautiful future for yourself. And then the next one is a reality check. What's actually holding me back? What stands in the way? What are the roadblocks? And the final step is a call to action. What is one thing I can do right now to take one step forward towards my best life?
What we'll do now, we're going to do on the sharing, and here is a question for you. What will you apply today after you learned from Sehr to be more bold, more brave and brilliant? What is the next change? How are you going to do that? So we break you into rooms and we see you within 6-7 minutes back.
Great.
Go and enjoy. All right, welcome back everyone. And how was it? This, tell me. I see everybody with thumbs up now, so that's great. I'm glad you enjoyed, and in the same manner, why don't we have people that volunteer to share what did you hear from your people, from the people that took part with you? Anyone wants to volunteer? Type down your name and I'm gonna call you. Hanif.
Hello, Hanif. Great to see you.
Hi, Sarah. It's been a while.
I can see you're walking on a treadmill in your office.
Yes, multitasking, which is unusual for a guy, right? So the theme in our room was very congruent. It was a fear of confrontation, and it's sort of, I think it stems from our generally being nice people, and therefore letting things pass by, maybe run us over even, and we suffer the consequences ourselves quietly rather than actually taking a stand. And we had a great analogy that Lenny shared that someone had advised him early on in his life that don't go against the traffic, you go in the direction of the traffic. And maybe that was good advice on the day-to-day things, but when things matter, perhaps we need to take a stand and stop. And it's having the courage to actually do that. And what's the worst that can happen? And if you ask yourself that question and you answer it honestly, it's probably not going to be as bad as you think, for the reason that you're not being non-confrontational. So I think there are a few takeaways from that short session.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And now, Jacqueline. Where are you, Jacqueline?
I'm currently in Israel, but originally also from Singapore.
Fantastic.
So in our room, the one thing that I wanted to talk about, I wanted to bring it out here that we discuss is the idea of making decisions. So we said that decisions can either, don't have to be yes or no, black or white. That maybe sometimes a decision sort of flows in between the two. And we left the conversation by, with that hanging in the air, sort of like, maybe the real challenge is to find out, or rather to know when the decision is black or white, like you have to cut off one thing to move to the other, or can you flow between the two? So yeah, that was what was interesting to me in our room, in our conversation.
It's very interesting that you say that. The first thing that comes to mind is I know a lady that used to be a very successful creative director of a company, but she loved to dance, and because she loved to dance, she created a group of people that dance, and they danced all over the place, and they went out, they danced Lindy Hop, so they went to camps and danced. And before you know it, she had groupies who come, and instead of 20 or 30 or 40 or 50, it's not to be 100, say, oh, why don't I make a school? And the hobby, this is what you say, the maybe, is sometimes you do two things. Oh, I love to dance, but I'm a great creative director. Should I just go there? So sometimes you can brew your hobby to become and replace your work in that place. And so she had for many years, she made one of the best schools for Lindy Hop and dance in Singapore. That will jitterbag or something like that. So yeah, so sometimes it's in between. Very good observation. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jackie. Looking great and doing great. So, Tali, now your turn.
It's so funny. The world is so small. How many people you have in this call?
We had 45, but then some people had to go.
Okay, so
sorry, I just want to jump in and say hello, Tali. I used to, I think we met when I was working for Roy. Nice to meet you. I hope you're all doing well.
Thank you. It's such a small world. So I was just about to say that with all the 45 people, I just met a friend from school from Israel.
Right. Sorry, Avi, because I was working for her husband Roy in HP, and then she actually supported with some arts and crafts for a children's party. I was helping out at church. Yeah, she provided some real nice things for the kids. So I remember that. So I wanted to say hello.
Tali is an angel, so I'm not surprised. Every time I can hear some great things about that, because she's keep on doing things for everyone else. Go ahead and share, Tali.
So first, it was really, I was so happy to meet Yossi, that probably hears me now, because I saw him once in Singapore or twice, I think, but since then I didn't see him and he moved to Australia. So it was really nice. It was surprising. And yes, this is Yossi. And now I'm going to meet him because he cannot escape. I know he's coming soon. And it was really interesting for us. As you said, in life, we all have challenges, and it depends how big or how much you want to dare and how much you want to achieve, and as accordingly is the action that you need to take, and sometimes the challenges that you have in life. So we discussed exactly what was discussed here, that You need to act, you need to do something. And when you have a very clear vision and you're doing things in order to get there, things eventually will sort out. Sometimes it's very hard, but sometimes, you know, the universe, everything, something happens and eventually we get to where we want. We just need never give up and always try differently.
I think two things help really. Is one of the things is that the universe is conspiring to help us often. And one thing that you do, Tali, is you contribute to everyone. So you get a lot of goodwill coming. When I talk about delightful mindset, I say when you have a delightful mindset, three things will happen to you. You're going to make everybody around you much better. The second thing that will happen is you're going to harvest back 10 times or more of what you sow, and you're going to make for others. And the most important, you're going to be much happier on the road. So, Yossi, what do you feel? Did you represented well what happened in the conversation?
Yeah, that's funny, Avi. We've been talking for quite some time. Me and you have been communicating for a while now. And I haven't had a chance to catch up with you. When you're in Perth, I'm in Singapore. When I'm in Singapore, you're in Perth. And now we're meeting all on this platform, which is fantastic. It's great to be here for the first time. And it's a lovely topic. And I'm sure we're going to have to catch up again in Singapore. What Tali says is correct. Apart from being schoolmates for a long time ago in Israel, we met in Singapore, and I kind of disappeared a bit, my fault. Work has taken me different places, but yes, we had challenges, and moving to Australia was not easy after 20 years in Singapore, and it came with a few challenges, and then came COVID and everything else. So it's tough, but we are overcoming it one by one.
And soon we're gonna see you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you, Yossi. And what we're gonna do now? We're gonna have time for questions and answers. So whoever wants to ask a question, just put your name, and I will call you. You can ask Sehr anything. You can use the opportunity, because I'm going to be here next time as well. So put a priority to ask question to Sehr. Just type your name if you want to share. Yossi, you wanted to ask a question?
Yes, I have to ask the question of where is this amazing photo on that rock?
Oh, wow, yes.
It is damn scary, I have to say. You're brave.
So this was a trip that I took with my son in Norway, and we did a 28-kilometer hike, and the pinnacle of that hike is getting on that rock, and it's called the Trolltunga. And you just get on that rock and you don't think about it. And then when you look at the picture, you're like, oh my God, what did I just do? It was one of the most amazing places in the world. Breathtaking.
It's clearly summarizing the topic above your head here in the screen. So amazing photo and amazing topic, an amazing story of yours. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Thanks.
Fantastic. Thank you, Yossi. Thank you, Sehr. Leon wants to ask a question and say, what is the one issue, problem that you encounter at the workplace or with your clients?
Yeah. I think one of the biggest issues we're facing today, well, there are many, but one of them is how to balance in the workplace, how to balance economics and empathy. And businesses need to make tough decisions. They need to watch their bottom line. They need to be profitable to survive. How do you do these? How do you make those decisions with empathy? Because at the end of the day, it impacts your brand and it impacts your ability to hire, attract, and retain people. And for me, it's just one of the tough ones. And empathy is not something you're born with. You have to develop it as a leader.
Thank you for sharing that. From my perspective, I think a lot of people talk about empathy, and I think that empathy is just one part. I would say that empathy is the entrance, because empathy, by definition, is our ability using our mirror neuron to feel and sense other people's emotions and then maybe acknowledge them and make them feel seen. But that is just passive. I think that the next level, when we talk about the work that we do, the next level is compassion. And compassion, from definition that I like, I didn't invent it, but I heard it, is the desire to alleviate someone else's suffering. But there's still these two things, is sense and want. I think you need to go to another level, and the other level is taking action, small act of kindness in the direction that you want. And one of the things that we are doing in the last 1 year is a little bit researching what's happening in hospital. It's called MOJO movement. If you have time to go to Google and look at MOJO movements, you're going to see a beautiful 7 minutes video. So empathy is not enough, and balancing is important. And the way that you balance it, what I see in leaders, I've seen a lot of leaders that are frustrated because they don't put boundaries, clear boundaries. And I say that when you don't put boundaries, you are actually unkind. Why? Because other people don't know the boundaries, so they keep jumping to the minefield of yourself. So they don't know it, they commit an offense, you didn't tell them, so you feel a little bit uncomfortable to tell them that, and it's a lose-lose game. Eventually the relationship is going to break down. So if you want to be kind to yourself and to others, be more transparent with your expectations and your where is your minefield, and that will help you, and make sure that people understand and are accountable and know if they fall short of, tell them, okay, so here is when we need to go. Are you willing to go with me? Because if you're not, then we have to separate, and do it. Most importantly, is do it with grace. Do it in a kind way.
That's right.
Not in a terrible way. So over here, I don't want to talk too much, but we should better give Ardana.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Amy.
Hi.
Oh, thanks so much. Hi, Sehr. Hi. Thank you so much, Sehr and Abby, for this wonderful session. First of all, I just want to congratulate you for such a wonderful and a sensitive topic also, to discuss, and also bring in such great information and such great ideas. I have one question, Sehr, here, and really looking at myself as well. There are times when we decide that we need to do something different, and we do become bold, and possibly circumstances allow you to take that step. But there is also an inclination to, sometimes go back, and say, oh, well, did I do it right? You get that self-doubt somewhere. How do we make this sustainable? So I do make a step, and I do take a decision to, start changing something. But sustainability is something that I always feel I struggle with as well. So any tools, techniques, and ideas, when you do make these changes, how do you continue working towards it? How do you become yourself, self-motivated and accountable to continue on that journey?
Great question, and great to see you here, Radna. Thank you for joining us.
Yes,
So, I think one of the things that I've realized in my life is we don't control anything. We do not control what happens in our lives. We control how we react to it. And there are moments, even the toughest, bravest, boldest ones of us will falter, and will second guess ourselves, and we'll have a minute to say, gosh, can't do this. There are two things you need to do. Go back and remember a time in your life you did something and you overcame a challenge. So remind yourself of what you have done in the past and what you're capable of, because that changes your biochemistry, changes your energy. Because there's so many pivot moments like that. And the second thing is, start your day. And I'm a morning person. Some of you are night people. Start your day. I do it in the morning with a ritual. And that changes no matter what happens. And for me, it's a little bit of physical activity. I do yoga. Some of you can go for a walk. And I then lie there on my yoga mat and I look up at the sky and I manifest. And I say these, and I write these words, and I say, manifest my future every day. And I express gratitude for everything that I have in my life. And it literally changes my headspace, and I can take on whatever comes that day. So it's literally mind over matter. It's mental conditioning, reminding yourself of great things you've done and setting yourself up for success every day.
What you say, Sehr, is also in science. It's called priming. And interestingly, it's proven also with fMRI that what you say really change the way that your brain acts. And actually, one of the rituals that I have and I recommend for people, and we teach it, is smile to people in the morning if you go out, and say hello like the lucky cat. And you will see that something will happen to you. You're going to be totally different, and you're going to have groupies that are going to come. This is a fabulous way to prime yourself for good stuff. And just don't bother with the people that don't say hello back to you, because they have their own issue, their own problems. You just made, and you're going to make a ripple effect. So thank you for that. We published this book, and we're going to go and launch it next month. So it is 400 pages. I know that some of you already got it. And 3 years of research and work. I want to give a lot of credit. The heavy lifting was done by this gentleman, Daniel Lee, and he's no other than our guest next time. And we're going to let him share his journey towards becoming one of the world's expert in first-time leadership. So do take the code if you want to register for Next Mojo. Bring your friends, tell your friends that this is one of the places where you could meet people from all over the world, learning new things and sharing, and immediately make it relevant to your environment. Without further ado, the only thing that is left is to thank all of you for coming, and to thank, of course, Sehr for inspiring me first. And you know what? Do you know how she got into Mojo? Anyone want to ask? How do you think we got her into Mojo?
Just a question.
Well, the answer, she asked for it, because one thing that she does, she's bold, she's brave, and brilliant. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. We see you next month, the last Thursday of the month, with Daniel Lee at our book launch.
Thanks, everyone. Great to see all of you, and wishing you a fantastic, bold, brave, brilliant journey ahead. Stay in touch.
Thank you, Sehr. Thank you, Avi. Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye, Jackie.
Bye.
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 Thank you, everyone. Bye.